Welcome to the Nightsiders podcast, your gateway to geekdom. This is the third episode, but no, it's not Revenge of the Sith. Will couldn't be with us tonight, but as they say in showbiz, the show must go on. For tonight, I'm your host, Paul Williams, but no, I'm not the Paul Williams that voiced the Penguin. And with me is Jeff Bundy.
I'm not on a Segway.
And Atomic Eric.
Can I get a kaboom?
No, you can't. I'm kidding. Anyways, I'm not really good with segues, so I figure I will let the captain take over.
All right. Well, first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Blessed Kwanzaa, and season's greetings to all of you listeners out there.
Joyous Krampus night. Why not? Let's throw it in there, too.
Yeah, happy winter solstice.
There you go. Got anything
Merry
for us?
Yuletide.
Nothing? No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
He's just dropping the bomb over there.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyways, So,
speaking of Christmas, we're going to talk about our favorite Christmas movies. But before we get into that,
we have Gotham City Sirens. This past week, it was announced that the director for the film, which was originally a Harley Quinn standalone film, now it will be Gotham City Sirens. The director is David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad, so he's obviously familiar with working with Margot Robbie. However, the bigger story for the Gotham City Sirens was a possible rumor that Megan Fox would be cast as Poison Ivy.
Okay,
what do you guys think?
There's a lot of hate out there for Megan Fox. Maybe it's justified, maybe it's not. Hard to decide one way or the other. She is an actress. She can act.
And she could pull a Heath Ledger.
She could. I don't think this will be the movie she does it.
I know.
But, I mean, you never know. Apparently, she's a big comic book fan.
Really?
Yeah, huge comic book reader.
Apparently, the reason that this rumor got started is someone, I don't know who, but someone found out that she had a bunch of comic books mailed to her. And all having to deal with Gotham City Sirens, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn.
So if she's a big comic book reader, that may have just been comics that she had been wanting to read and finally decided to get around to picking up. Or... Sorry, it's freezing out here, so my cold's coming back. Or it could be... it could be that she's doing her homework for a role.
Well, I wouldn't have a problem with it. See, I don't really have a hate for Megan Fox. I never have. Not only do I think she's attractive, which I'm pretty sure that's
no, she is definitely a good-looking woman.
But my only real issue is it's not even with her. It's she's been miscast a lot of times.
She's been miscast. And not only that, like, she's been tied to Michael Bay too much.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay is the one that has more of the hate than she does, at least from what I've seen.
Yes. And Michael Bay does tend to over-sexualize her roles.
Yes.
And I mean, if you want a prime example of that, Transformers.
Oh, I'll give you a better one. Did he not do... Did he not do the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, he did Ninja Turtles, but actually, I thought she did a good job as April O'Neil.
I didn't have an issue with it. Like, actually, I think she did a better job in part 2.
Yes.
My issue with the Ninja Turtles is not even April O'Neil; it's the Turtles.
Their appearance.
They don't look like turtles.
No, they don't look like turtles. They look more...
Their personalities, they got pretty good.
Yeah, they got that almost spot on.
Yeah, they got the personalities perfect.
And believe it or not, they got April O'Neil's personality spot on too, and Megan Fox did a good job with it. So that's why I'm not angry or disappointed that they're considering her for the role. She's got the look.
Yeah.
Especially if they actually do dye her hair red for this. She didn't do it for April O'Neil, which was a disappointment.
Yeah.
but whatever. But if she does do the red hair for this role, I can definitely see her being able to pull off the look and the acting style.
I think from my perspective anyway, I have always thought that Poison Ivy should be done more from a Typhoid Mary perspective, where it's almost like a split personality, because almost like her coming out of her shell. When she's Pamela Isley, she could almost do it as a split personality, in my opinion.
I think that's almost what they tried to attempt with when they did Batman and Robin.
Problem was, though, they had the wrong director for that.
Director, and the writing was horrible. Don't have Mr. Freeze doing puns.
No.
If you want to throw in a pun here or there, that's one thing, but that was just bad pun after bad pun.
And he's sitting there singing with the Cold Miser or whatever it is from A Year Without a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
What? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Arnold Schwarzenegger probably wasn't the right pick for Mr. Freeze. No. I mean, if he would have done it the deadpan way that, say, the animated series had Mr. Freeze, Schwarzenegger might have worked. The accent was a little, but, something you could live with.
Yeah.
But the way they did, there's nothing that went right in that movie.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Bat nipples.
Bat credit card.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Oh, the bat credit card.
Just really... Come on, what's the logic behind that? Yes, Batman has a card assigned to him, one of the most secretive men on the planet.
And he's got a card that anyone at the credit card company can know his mailing address.
And then you have Robin the Boy Wonder is 35 years old when he filmed this.
Yeah.
The Boy Wonder.
Why is Bruce Wayne taking him in as his ward if the man can live on his own successfully?
That's now we're getting back into the whole Adam West days and the interesting relationship between those two.
Surprisingly, I didn't even care that you made Batgirl Alfred Pennyworth's niece, even though that should have bothered the living daylights out of me.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a thorn in my side.
The Robin was the part I had the problem with.
Well, keep in mind, though, ladies and gentlemen, I'm 30 now, but I was like, I don't even remember. I think I was maybe 10 or 11 when this came out, and I hated it then.
Yes.
Well, I to be fair, I have yet to meet anyone who actually liked that movie.
Ooh.
Sad thing is I did buy it, so I just had it for the collection, but I probably used the disc as a coaster more than anything else.
And you know what? I was really one of the things that really disappointed me about
that movie was so bad it should have spoiled your drinks.
There was no disagreement there. I think one of my biggest issues with it is I don't even think that Schwarzenegger had very much say in what he got to do in that movie. Because the man pulled off making a cyborg super cool. Mm-hmm. How many? I can't think of how many other times I've seen somebody play a cyborg or a robot and give it a personality without a personality. So I was baffled once I got older and I watched it again and I was like, how do you take a guy who made one of the most emotionless and uninteresting concepts and make him so cheesy that you hate it? How?
I think the thing was I think they were trying to get a spin-off of the campy feeling from the Batman 66. But they did it all wrong.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, that was one of the reasons why the 89 Batman with Michael Keaton was such a big hit, because it wasn't campy.
No.
Yeah. It wasn't goofy. It was meant to be taken as a more serious film.
It came on the heels of The Dark Knight Returns being released in comic book form.
Oh, okay.
And made it darker than anything we had seen to that point.
Well, I'll be honest.
Everyone loved it. They're like, this is amazing. I want to see more. And then the second one came out. And it was great. And then Schumacher took over and... Wow.
Well, they were more worried about selling toys by this point.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that is what destroyed that franchise, was they were more worried about toy sales than they were about movie sales.
Mm. What I actually think, because I do have one or two issues with the second movie, the second Batman movie, Batman Returns. And the Penguin's actually he was always one of my favorite characters. Before I was in awe by the Joker, which in fact I loved the Joker from the first movie. He's like my favorite.
What, Nicholson?
Nicholson he's probably my favorite Joker because I love the setting of the first movie. It's so timeless. It's like it could happen in the 40s or it could happen in the 80s. Yep. You're not really sure which. But I think one of my biggest issues was when they made the Penguin unclassy and gory. Like he was gross.
But remember, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood.
Exactly.
But
that is one of the better scenes in that film.
Most definitely. I have to admit that was a great scene.
And I still quote it to this day. All the time I say it.
That's why I let you do it.
But what I really loved though is I like I said, let me reiterate. I really did love the setting of those movies, and
Burton, as much as he can sometimes really make films really weird, he had a good way of making those very gothic, and that's what Batman should be.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly, especially with the way they show like the criminal underworld in those movies. Fantastic, like just you get like a sense of almost they have a sense of majesty to them, even though they're the scum of the earth. You know, these people are terrible people, but you can't help but admire them a little bit. I mean, freaking Jack Palance, like.
And since we're talking about Batman Returns, I would like to point out that it is a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Good segue.
That's right.
But just before we get into the Christmas films, just going back with Gotham City Sirens just a little bit. If not Megan Fox, who would you cast?
You want to take this one first?
I'm going to throw Wills in there since he's not here. He did say, what's her name? Bryce Dallas Howard?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes, that was the one he threw in there.
You might know her by her more famous father. Ron Howard, yes. Yeah. Directed Willow and all those other movies.
Oh, yes. Now, my pick, if I had to pick a Poison Ivy, is Catherine Isabel. Who's the redhead from Ginger Snaps, American Mary, Freddy vs. Jason. She can come off as a seductress, and at the same time, she's a redhead with green eyes.
And she plays a psychopath really well.
She does.
She's
also the right age, because you figure that this Batman that they have, Ben Affleck, is an older, more grizzled Batman. She's older in the fact that she could play an older Poison Ivy to fit in that universe.
Most definitely. Which is something that I actually like about the as people call Batfleck.
Yes.
He's an older Batman.
Yeah, he's grizzled, he's PO'd, he's...
Right.
I mean, yes, there are some people who had concerns about him killing, but you got to figure, going based off Batman versus Superman, and we see the Robin suit.
Yeah.
So he's lost a Robin. He's been through hell. He's dealt with all these idiots for how long?
Yeah.
He's PO'd. He's just tired.
And considering the fact that they took most of that script from The Dark Knight Returns, in which Batman finally kills the Joker.
Yes.
So, who's your pick?
My pick for a Poison Ivy, that is a difficult one because I love both, Bryce Dallas Howard and I love Catherine Isabel equally. But my own pick, oh God, let me think. What was that redhead's name?
While you're thinking, Jeff, what's your pick?
Okay, so I'm not actually totally opposed to Megan Fox, but thinking redhead, green eyes, Felicia Day pops into mind.
There's another good one. And I have actually seen that
She's
name
from the
come
Guild.
up.
I'm not familiar
And
with
if
her
you've
at
seen
all.
Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. No. Okay, she was a love interest in that. And she was one of the potential slayers in the last season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
She was.
Which potential was she?
I couldn't give you a name.
She was in it.
She was in it. She was one of the potential slayers, and she was one of the ones that was in almost the whole season.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I think she could definitely pull that off.
Christina Hendricks is another name that's been coming up on the internet. I've seen a lot. She's another one too. Emma Stone.
I guess I would have to pick Emma Stone. I think she would make an amazing Poison Ivy. Aside from the fact
Ralph Garman would probably approve.
Yes. Now, interesting you say Emma Stone. She played Gwen Stacy. So did Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, how strange is that, isn't it?
That's interesting you brought that up. They both played Gwen Stacy.
That's
So
right.
Gwen Stacy is Poison Ivy. No.
Barry, stop running!
Yeah. Hey, that's good. But, yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Speaking of Barry, Danielle Panabaker could probably pull that off too.
Oh, I think
There's
she
another
pulled
one.
off very well. Very
Yes.
well.
Another one.
But she's already in a DC property, so I don't think they'd go that route.
No. But she's already dealing with the whole dichotomy of having, like, a good side and a bad side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would work well with Poison Ivy.
Most definitely.
Would definitely.
If they've took some cues from that, you know,
Yes.
from that portrayal of Killer Frost from the Flash TV series, I think that would really go over well.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing the TV series or the CW has done, they've done a fantastic job of giving the fans what they want,
Yes.
Yes.
while sticking fairly true to some of the the comic book stories,
the source material.
the source material.
Or you take a show like Arrow, where their season 4 really upset a lot of people. They came out and said, "Okay, we made a mistake," and now season 5's been amazing.
Yes.
So they corrected themselves.
I really enjoy, I really have to give them some. I have to applaud them for owning that, because if there's one thing that really, really bothered me about some of the previous superhero shows, and I'm just gonna throw this one right out there because I still can't stand it to this day. Well, after season 3 anyway. Smallville. They never really owned their mistakes. They never did. It was like he would learn something. In one finale.
I will welcome you. Go back and watch seasons 9 and 10. Those two were really good. It was too little, too late. But 9 and 10 were actually really, really well done. And there's a few episodes, even in the mid seasons and whatnot, which were generally poor seasons. There's a few episodes here and there where it's just that episode was amazing. Just everything else around.
Justice.
Yeah.
Is that the one where it was basically the
Where they
mock
formed
Justice League?
Yeah, they formed it.
Written by Jeff Johns.
Of course.
That episode was written by Jeff Johns.
But that was one of my biggest criticisms with that that series. It was like Clark would learn these really these life altering things about himself in these finales, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, let's reset the slate again. And I'm like,
the showrunners for that show were very unapologetic.
Yes, and I was always like, why would he run back into the same situation? Especially, I remember because I watched it up until a certain point, and sometimes I would come back to it and see where they were going with it, and I was like, oh God, I just can't do it. Especially when you started dealing with when they got to the Phantom Zone portion of it, they had some really cool setup, and there was some directions they could have taken with that, and they just completely botched it. Like, dealing with meteor freaks, as they called them, that's very terrestrial.
Yes.
That's like, I mean, I could see why the League would kind of take that on, because they don't know about the Phantom Zoners. They didn't know about them. But my question is, especially around that time, Clark had dealt with, I believe there was, what was the one character's name? His name was Titan. Yeah, Titan. And the Martian Manhunter had to save him from him because he was about to get his spine ripped out. Then there was the guy who could, I can't remember, I think he could absorb people's life force or something. He was a kid, he was the guy, he was played by Bow Wow.
Okay, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
But most of the Zoners were way more powerful than him. Wouldn't you think that's something you would tell your friends about, who are worried about these terrestrial meteor freaks who can maybe pick up tables with their minds?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think somebody who's ripping people's spines out and sucking the marrow and murdering plant life for billions of miles around, that's a bigger threat. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
just some faulty logic.
No, there was faulty logic, and don't get me wrong, the show wasn't exactly the top of the line production, but I mean, hey, it did run 10 seasons, so it still had the viewers.
Yes, it had the viewers, but I think, but
but that was a show that was beginning to outlive its run.
Most definitely.
And eventually they finally said, okay, enough is enough. Tom Welling wanted out. He had spent 10 years doing it, and he was, I've had enough now. I want to go on do other things.
I also felt kind of bad for him, though, because I respect him as an actor. I really do. Because dealing with the material he had to work with, and it couldn't have been that great. It really couldn't have, because especially when you take diehard Superman fans such as me and like my brother, my other brother, not Will. I have a brother named Josh.
Right.
He is one of the biggest Superman fans I have ever seen, and he couldn't stand the character of Clark Kent on Smallville. Right. He felt that he was very dishonest, somewhat cowardly, and just too. I don't want to, I don't mean to offend anyone when I say it, but kind of emotional, but emotionally like irresponsible in some ways as well.
Yeah.
Especially with the way he dealt with certain situations that would arise, and to have
Lana, I was going to say having an 8-season crush on Lana Lang was just a little too long.
That was just ridiculous.
Lana Lang should have been in the first 3 seasons, and that was it.
Yeah. I agree.
Once they were out of high school.
The one thing Smallville did do right, though, Pa Kent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
John Schneider. He was perfect.
In my opinion, John Schneider was Superman. He just didn't have the powers.
John Schneider was the best rendition of Pa Kent I have seen.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Better than any of the films.
And don't get me wrong, it's not that they did a bad job in those films, but John Schneider nailed that. And Annette O'Toole as his mom, even.
Up until
who was Lana Lang in Superman 3.
Who was Lana Lang in Superman 3,
I really liked that. That was cool.
It's the only person who's played Superman's mom and girlfriend.
Yep.
Oh, how spooky.
Yeah.
Barry, stop running!
but and the way that Superman's being portrayed now in Supergirl,
amazing.
Tyler Hoechlin he's doing a good job.
He's amazing. The only gripe I've seen on the internet, kind of understand it myself, is he doesn't quite have that look that we're looking for in Superman.
Doesn't have the build.
He's a little bit too skinny, a little bit too lanky, where you're kind of looking more for like the kind of football build. But the acting, spot on.
His Clark Kent
His Clark Kent is Clark Kent. His Superman is he's doing as good a job as Christopher Reeve did. Everybody calls Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yes. That's a unanimous.
Or any of the voice actors, such as like George Newbern or Tim Daly, they were Superman.
Yeah.
Well, I think as well. I can see where they might have that small gripe, especially since he's supposed to be a kind of an older Superman, because he was Superman when Kara got there, like 8 years before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see if he was a young Superman. Still kind of coming up. He hasn't really hit his peak yet, but he's kind of small in a frame to be a more mature Superman.
But like I said, the physical appearance is one thing. I can get over that as long as the acting is good, and his acting is perfect.
I will say this though, like honestly, if the man just jumped down from out of the sky, I look up at him the same way I would look up at Christopher Reeve and say, "Oh my God, it's Superman."
Yeah.
No, I totally buy that guy is Superman. But it is Christmas time, and we need to talk about Christmas.
So let's go from Superman and super eco-terrorists to Christmas trees. There, I'm segueing for once.
Nice job, Paul.
So we'll do top 5?
Yeah, top 5. Sounds
honorable
good.
mentions if we've got them. Who wants to start this, or do you want me to?
You go ahead, sir.
All right, my number 5. By the way, so everyone knows, we're going from number 5 to number 1. And this was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I did not realize how many Christmas movies I've actually watched. My number 5, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, released December 3rd, 1989. Starring, obviously, Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Johnny Galecki, who's Big Bang Theory now, Juliette Lewis, Randy Quaid. Yeah, we all love Eddie. Shitter was full. Doris Roberts, John Randolph, Diane Ladd, E.G. Marshall. You get the point. There's a lot of big names in this. It's directed by Jeremiah Chechik and written by John Hughes. John Hughes film. How can you go wrong, right?
Yeah. Exactly. No, and it's a wonderfully hilarious movie. It's everything you'd expect from a National Lampoon's movie, cranked up to the highest notch.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. It's a great holiday movie for the family. You can get everyone around watching it. The kids will laugh, the adults will laugh, the grandparents will laugh.
Here's an interesting bit of trivia for you. So the assistant director on the film was Frank Capra III, who is the grandson of Frank Capra, who did It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my God!
How interesting is that?
Wow.
Pretty interesting, eh?
Pretty interesting.
So, yeah, that's my number 5. Eric?
My number 5 is actually it's an animated feature. It's a Justice League episode, Comfort and Joy.
Ah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Actually, I'll admit that's an emotional episode too.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
First time I saw that, I admit I got the bit of the feels, especially the whole scene with Martian Manhunter.
Yes, that scene. Oh, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's an interesting bit of trivia for that. Though its name and role are not mentioned, the human form John takes on was the one he used in the comics as John Jones as a police detective.
Ah.
So
interesting.
That's,
right on.
Actually, that is kind of cool. I never caught that. Okay, so my number 5 is Gremlins.
Who doesn't love Gremlins?
Light break.
Mugwai.
Oh, I love that movie. And it takes place at Christmas. It's a Christmas movie. Especially when you see Spike wearing the Santa hat and they're running around the Christmas trees and, they're throwing that little old lady in her chair all the way up the stairs, out the window into the snow.
It's the Peltzer pet.
Yeah, Gizmo was the Christmas gift, so...
Yep.
Oh, I love that movie. It's a great movie. It's one of those, I don't know, horror comedies. Is there like a mash word for that? Horromedy?
Horromedy.
Horromedy? I don't know. I know there's like
Commer? No.
No. No.
Horromedy sounds better.
Yeah,
I know they have like dramedies for drama comedies, but they don't really have
rom-coms are romantic comedies.
Yeah, but they don't have one for horror comedies. Maybe horror-com.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, horror-com. I like horror-com.
Horror-com. Yeah,
we're gonna make this a thing, everyone. It's a horror-com.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a horror comedy / Christmas flick, which is it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Phoebe Cates. Phoebe Cates. That's all I have to say about that. All right, so going on to number 4 now. Number 4 for me is A Christmas Carol, or it's also called Scrooge, the 1951 version starring Alastair Sim. Also starred Kathleen Harrison, Mervyn John, Hermione Baddeley. It was directed by Brian Desmond Hurst, written by, obviously, Charles Dickens, but was adapted by Noel Langley. If you try to look up box office gross, like the gross for it, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Nope.
Couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, okay, so it didn't make any money.
It's one of those films, back then they were not...
they didn't care so much back then.
They didn't care as much about the box office numbers.
I mean, they did,
they did. But there was also the record keeping was not as fine-tuned as it is.
I think they started doing that more in the 60s, to my knowledge.
50s and 60s. But this movie is...
This is early 50s. This is 51.
No, which one? Alistair Sim? Yes, I'm sorry.
It's early 50s. It's an absolutely amazing movie. It's also number 4 on my list.
I think it's number... Let me see. Where is that? Oh, that's my number 1. That's the one that me and my family watch every Christmas Eve together. Nice. Yep.
It's not my Christmas Eve movie every year. I do have one of those. It is on my list, but it is a movie that I will watch every year. So, yeah. And it's specifically that one. Although I will have to say, there's a lot of versions of A Christmas Carol out there, and I haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen the latest one there with Jim Carrey yet, but all of the other ones I've seen, including the Mickey Mouse one, are all good.
You know which one was really good too? A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yes,
it is.
George C. Scott, I believe, played Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
That's a good one.
Didn't he play? I think he played it twice.
He did actually play it twice.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't him. It's Michael Caine, I think.
That's right. It was Michael Caine.
Michael Caine played
Muppets
it in Christmas Carol. Or Muppets Christmas Carol. Yeah,
But,
sorry, I had that wrong.
But actually, did you know that even though it's that film, that the Alastair Sim version is one of the most widely regarded as the best version of the Charles Dickens story, it's the only one which omits Scrooge's famous line, which is, "If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart."
Yeah, because even the Mickey Christmas Carol has a variation on that.
Yes, it does.
I didn't realize that line's actually missing. Now I'm going to have to go back and rewatch.
Well, it's on my list for watching actually later on tonight. So
There you go.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to it yet this year, but I haven't gotten to anything on my list yet this year. So
Yeah. So, number 3.
Oh, Eric's number 4.
My number 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
See? I deserve a kaboom for that.
I had to jump in because mine was the same.
Kaboom. There you go.
Okay, so my number 4 is actually Die Hard. Anybody who knows, everybody knows that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
If you don't know that, you're wrong.
Yes, you're wrong. But
I actually wrote that on someone's Facebook post today because they were like, "Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?" And I'm like, there's two people in this world. One that know it's a Christmas movie and those who are wrong.
There's actually a couple interesting bits of trivia on that.
There's a lot of
trivia on this one.
A lot of interesting trivia on that.
For one, did you know that the Nakatomi Tower is actually the headquarters of 20th Century Fox?
That I did not know.
And the company actually charged itself rent for the use of the then not unfinished building.
Wow.
There's that. That's something I just learned today. I didn't know that. And Bruce Willis actually received a then unheard of $5 million fee that was approved by Fox president Rupert Murdoch, because I guess it was such an outstanding amount of money for an actor to receive at that point.
And nowadays, it's like that's.
Here's the interesting thing about Bruce Willis, though, because Die Hard is my number 3. So we'll just skip past me when we get to the number 3s. But the original poster artwork, you know how the poster shows the Nakatomi and then shows him?
Yep.
The original poster didn't have him.
Really?
And the reason why was the producers were afraid that anyone who had a hatred towards Bruce Willis wouldn't go see the film.
Oh, wow.
So they kept it hidden that he was in it.
But he wasn't as big then.
It was mainly moonlighting.
Yeah.
To that point.
Which actually, that's part of why they had to cut down some of the shooting schedule, and why some of the other actors, such as what's his name? He played Officer.
Reginald Val Johnson.
Reginald Val Johnson, who played Officer Powell. That's another reason why why he got so many more scenes, is because they were trying to give Bruce Willis some time to rest, because he was getting really stressed out and overexhausted with his shooting schedule for Die Hard and Moonlighting. So some of the minor characters actually received some more screen time due to this.
And that might have made the film as good as it was.
Well, let's put it this way. If they gave Rickman more screen time because of that, thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yes, Alan Rickman was, as Hans Gruber, was just amazing.
It's not Christmas till you see Hans Gruber fall off the Nakatomi building.
Yeah.
Yep. It really isn't.
Well, also something that I just learned about. I was doing some study. We do actually do our research for this podcast. They didn't realize that that Alan Rickman could pull off an American accent so well, but they were trying to find a way to have the hero and the villain meet sooner in the film than just at the finale. So when they realized that he could he could pull off an American accent so well.
That's when they did that scene where he pretended to be the guest.
Yep, exactly.
No, I love that movie too, and when we get to it, it is my number one favorite Christmas movie. So
the budget for the film was $28 million, but it grossed $81.35 million.
Good God Almighty!
Yeah,
it quadrupled what it spent. So that's pretty good.
That might explain why there were so many sequels.
So number 3,
there's only 3 sequels. We don't include the 5th.
Yeah.
Which one's that one?
Live Free, Die Hard.
What?
No, that's the 4th one.
That's the 4th one.
Yeah,
that's
Good Day to Die.
Was you mean the one with his son?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, good God! I hate
we don't. I can't even remember the title of it. That's how much I
think it was A Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we don't acknowledge that one.
Well, it was a good day for that movie franchise to die hard.
Yeah.
So, number 3, we already know Paul's is Die Hard. So, what's yours, Eric?
My number 3 is actually a TV special, but I consider it a movie. Some of my other panel members don't.
Hey, we all cast directions at this certain panel member.
My number 3 is actually Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Almost made my list.
It's a good one.
It is.
And I'm not going to say I don't watch it every year. I do.
It's a childhood favorite. Actually, I just recently watched it with my own nephew. And that was kind of cool. I got to pass it on to the next generation. So that was a nice little touch. But I don't really have any trivia on that one. So
well, one thing about Rudolph is, and again, like we say, we cracked a joke about it. It's not Christmas till we see, Hans Gruber fall off the Nakatomi buildings, and it's not Christmas until you hear Burl Ives singing "Silver and Gold."
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like there's certain iconic songs or voices we hear.
Yeah, Burl Ives is definitely.
This, by the way, is so far the only Christmas movie I actually have seen this year. Is Rudolph. It's the only one I've actually managed to watch because I've had a pretty busy schedule, so I've been pretty tied up. I haven't had much chance, but we're at my parents' house last weekend, and I happened to watch it then when I was at my parents. So
see, there you go.
And again, it's a movie. It's a family movie. You watch it with the kids. You watch it with the grandparents and the wife and the.
I think I've always kind of looked at it as a TV special more so because I remember as a kid. You always knew when that Christmas special was coming on CBS because it would have the little, like, the circle logo that would come up and it would say, and now for our feature presentation, and it would be a special presentation. And I always remember that as a kid getting excited because I was like, oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, yep. No, they always had, there was 4 of them. There's always those 4. Rudolph.
The Little Drummer Boy.
Well, there's Santa Claus is coming to town.
Santa Claus is coming to town, and Frosty.
Yes, thank you.
And a Charlie Brown Christmas. Sorry,
I throw
Brown. That one in there, even though it's only a half hour long. But
gotta love Charlie Brown.
How
Christmas.
the Grinch Stole Christmas, the animated version.
That is.
So my number 3 is It's a Wonderful Life.
Nice one.
It's also on my list.
I love that movie, and that is my Christmas Eve movie every year. Me and my wife will watch it. We have it on DVD. Actually, we have 3 copies of it on DVD. 2 of them are black and white. One of them is the colored, which we won't watch.
Coaster?
It pretty much. But we've got 2 copies of the black and white version on DVD. One of them's got a little scratch in it, and it doesn't work in our one DVD. It works well in all our other DVD players, but the one DVD player didn't work in. That's why we ended up picking up another copy. But
I have it on VHS and on DVD.
We actually, my family has it on. We have it on VHS, and I believe we have 2 copies on DVD, and we have the
Blu-ray.
The MP4 file. Yep, we have a
digital download.
Yeah, digital download file.
That's one thing I don't have it for. I do not have a digital download. We have it on DVD, so I mean that's good enough. We'll throw it in the computer drive or the Xbox or DVD player, what have you, and watch it there. I mean, it's actually still sitting in my Xbox from last Christmas. So,
oh wow,
we don't watch movies on our Xbox. We'll watch it on my computer first.
Okay.
But for the longest time, my computer monitor was bigger than our television. So,
well, that makes sense then.
Yeah, we had one of those old cathode ray tube TVs for the longest time.
We still have one. It's a 13-inch, not really big, but it still works.
Well, but we had an old 36-inch cathode ray tube, but I also had a 38-inch computer monitor.
I have a 52-inch tube TV upstairs in my spare room.
We used to have one of the console ones that actually was on the
floor. Yeah, so did
26-inch.
Oh yeah.
I remember though. Actually, A Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is that's my family's second Christmas Eve movie. We always watch two.
Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Every time someone farts, a demon gets his.
So, what?
What? Spawn.
Oh man!
Sorry, I had to throw that one in there.
Oh, wow.
That's a nice deep cut there. I actually had to think about that one for a second.
Wow. Yeah, that's
a good one.
Cut. Wow.
Flexing my movie knowledge.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Michael Jai White.
All right, number 2, Paul.
All right. So you don't get them wet, and you don't put them in the sunlight. It'll kill them. And never feed them after midnight.
Especially not Taco Bell.
Well, that's for me. And for other people we know. But anyways.
My brothers?
Oh, no. We have a gentleman at work
who has the same name as me. And when he gets into the Taco Bell, you run.
No, but how did you know not to feed us after midnight?
Oh. Anyways, obviously I'm talking about the 1984 classic Gremlins. Starred Zach Galligan, Hoyt Axton, Phoebe Cates. Love Phoebe Cates.
Yeah.
Dick Miller, Corey Feldman.
Yeah, Feldman.
A lot of people forget Corey Feldman was in it.
Yeah, not for long, but...
No. Scott Brady, who played the sheriff, and this was his last film. He passed away after filming this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was his last film. And Polly Holiday was Mrs. Deagle.
Whee!
Best scene of that film is when she's flying around on that chair and out the window she goes.
Oh yeah.
I remember my mother actually saying that,
you know who I really felt bad for was her cats. I always felt bad for her cats.
Really? Why?
Do you know the part that always puzzled?
Well, first of all, they had to put up with her.
Oh yeah.
And second of all, what happened to the cats after?
Oh yeah, good point.
Well, what happened to most of that town after?
Exactly.
It got torn apart. But the part that always killed me is actually, like, early in the film, Zach Galligan bringing his dog to work with him. And his boss, after the dog attacks Mrs. Deagle, he's like, what's that dog doing in here? How the hell do you not know a dog is in there every day?
It's a good point.
When you actually think about how the hell do you not know that Billy is bringing his dog to work every day? What's he do when the dog has to take a pee or a poop?
Well, how much you want to bet he just said that to cover his behind?
Well, probably, yeah, true.
I mean,
Judge Reinhold was in this too.
Yes,
Now I'm thinking about it.
That's right. That's who I think.
Oh, Beverly Hills Cop Judge Reinhold.
Oh my God.
Oh yes. Whose name was Billy?
Whose name?
Wow.
But
the coincidences just keep coming.
Yes, they do.
Now, the interesting thing about that, remember the convention that Rand Pelter goes to?
Yep.
There's some Easter eggs in that thing. So first of all, you have the time machine prop from the 1960 film, The Time Machine.
The Time Machine.
Yeah.
And then they pan to his wife, and when they pan back, it's gone. Supposedly, it's on a mission.
Oh, wow. That I did not know. I did know it was in there, but I did not know.
Steven Spielberg and the composer Jerry Goldsmith, who did the music for the film, are both seen in that scene as well.
I did know that.
And Robbie the Robot, but that's pretty obvious. We all see Robbie the Robot.
Yeah.
But it's the time machine thing. I actually had to go back and watch it. It does disappear.
Oh, nice.
So, wow. So what does that mean
for
the Gremlins?
That's a interesting little trick with the film there.
So it makes you wonder, does that make them in the same universe?
Here's another thing. The film budget was $11 million.
Damn it, Barry.
It grossed $148 million.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It did very... granted, though, it didn't come out at Christmas time. It came out in June. It was a summer blockbuster.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't remember that because I wasn't born yet.
It was June 8th, 1984 was when it premiered in the States.
Oh my God, my brother wasn't even born yet.
No. I was. I'm old.
I had already been around for, 9 years, 10 years? Yeah, I'd been around a while.
Wow, you guys are old.
And Gremlins also, is the first VHS tape I ever bought, first DVD I ever bought, first Blu-ray I ever bought.
Wow.
So the next format that comes out will be the first one I buy.
A lot of firsts here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So number two, Jeff, Eric.
Ooh, number two. My number two. Let me see. Oh, we already mentioned it. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where there's going to be a lot of
rehashes.
A lot of rehashes. So
my number one is different than you guys, but anyways.
Okay. Well, my number two, since I haven't done that yet, is The Miracle on 34th Street, and not the newer one, but the original 1947 black and white one.
Yes.
Not that the new one is bad. It's not. It's a good movie. It's a great movie. It just isn't as good as the original.
No.
It doesn't have as much, how do you say, heart?
No, it's got the heart. It just, I think it fails really on the court.
The courtroom scene is
the courtroom scene in the original one where he brings in all the mail to show that Santa Claus, at least as far as the law is concerned, exists because the mail is delivered to him. Right? And that is, I thought it was a brilliant way. I mean, it's not really how the real world works, but this is a movie, right?
Right.
And it's a feel good. You've got Santa Claus in the movie. I mean, that's not how the real world works either. So, you know.
I will admit.
But I mean, as far as it goes, it was a very clever way to do it, and I thought that was something that it really disappointed me in the remake when that wasn't in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That's why I don't remember, because it wasn't in the remake.
It wasn't, and that was the thing that just they kind of had the case thrown out on procedural grounds in the new.
Well, they tried. What it was, they were modernizing it, but honestly, the original just has that feeling of like escapism.
Yes.
You can escape the real world and just enjoy it as a well-told story.
And I remember, actually, you know what? Now that you say it, Jeff, that is what really turned me off to that to the remake. I didn't appreciate it as much because it was lacking that was a
that
very,
feeling of victory, that feeling of
victory.
Hey, we managed to prove that Santa Claus is real.
Right.
Where in the remake they just kind of
they just
pushed it off to the side and said, this is, and I mean, like I said, it's not that the remake is a bad movie. It's not. It is a good movie, and I do watch it, but to me it just doesn't hold the same feeling that the original does.
Mm-hmm. So
okay,
we're on to
drum roll.
Ones. Okay, my number one, I know you guys are not in the same ballpark as me because I have like a serious love for horror films that take place at Christmas time. And every year, this is my Christmas Eve movie. As a matter of fact, I've already watched it once this year, and I'll be watching it again Christmas Eve. That's how much I love this film. Came out in 1974, and it is actually released December 20th, so it was a Christmas film. Starring Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, John Saxon, Margot Kidder, Andrea Martin, Art Hindle, Lynn Griffin, Doug McGrath. I'm talking about the Bob Clark film, Black Christmas.
I've seen it. Yeah.
I haven't.
Also, it is currently on Shudder right now for anyone who might be possibly thinking of getting the Shudder service. It's $5 a month for all the horror you can possibly imagine. I recommend it. But Black Christmas is just, and it's not so much even just the horror element. The music is so beautiful in the way that it's so contrasting. You have at one point there's like beautiful carols being sung, very soft, a children's choir, and then you have how the composer did it was he took like a piano and he opened it up, and the strings inside the piano, he would take forks and grind them on the strings.
Oh, that's just brilliant.
And that's how he got the evil, creepy sound to it. And just the whole fact of like you have a sorority house with a bunch of girls, and there's a killer that's in the attic taking them out one by one.
That's right.
And the creepy phone calls. creepy phone calls. And yet, when you think about it, so it kind of almost makes me sound sadistic that this is what I enjoy on a Christmas Eve film. But the fact that it was filmed in Toronto, in March, in real snow, in a real sorority house. Well, it was based on a university campus, and just it's not a movie set. Like, it's not a studio, I should say. It's an actual set, and it's a Canadian film, which is like very near and dear to my heart as well. I love Canadian films.
As being, being that we are Canadian, most of us, that does touch most of us,
And I'm looking forward to this Wednesday because I just ordered the vinyl recording of the soundtrack that was just released for the first time ever last year.
That's incredible.
And the vinyl is awesome. I can't wait to get this. It's a clear vinyl with blood splattered on it.
Ooh. Okay, I might be ordering one of these myself.
It's from Waxwork Records. I got it through Amazon.
Waxworks.
Waxwork Records.
Of course.
Yep, of course. But
we're actually that we're referencing the horror movie right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's Waxwork the film,
Zach
but
Galligan, right?
Zach Galligan of Gremlins.
Yep.
But I got it through Amazon, and how they do the soundtrack is the first side is called the Silent Night, and it's all the nice music. And you flip it over, it's the Evil Night, and it's all the creepy music.
That is incredible.
Clever. That's very clever.
That's so awesome.
It's only about like 22 minutes long. It's not very long, but I don't care. I have to have this.
That's a keepsake.
Yes,
that is.
That's a keepsake of keepsakes.
All right, what's your number one, Eric?
My number one has already been mentioned, but again, this is a family favorite. A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim, 1951. That movie just brings me back to a special time. Especially, I think the first time I ever saw that movie, I remember being, I think maybe around 8 or 9, the very first time I ever saw it. So I came home from school. It was around the Christmas holidays, and my mom put on this movie. And I was like, Christmas Carol? Well, what kind of a movie could you base on Christmas carols? Being my naive, I don't know, I think it was like 8 or 9. And I remember it scared the hell out of me, actually, the first part. Mm-hmm. I mean, no other actor has done the wailing scenes with Jacob Marley quite as well as the actor who portrayed him in the Alistair Sim version.
To be fair, it almost has like a horror element to it.
Yes, it really does.
It's a very creepy scene.
He just comes
that's
big
part
when he's banging the chains and he's, like you said, like he's wailing. Or the scene right after that when Ebenezer looks out his window.
Yep.
And there's all the spirits.
Yeah.
It's a creepy scene.
I would love to see that, redone with some, a few touches here and there of modern tech. Woo! I can only imagine that would be terrifying. Because I remember when I got to be about, I think I was 16 or 17, and I rewatched it again after a long time. And I remember thinking to myself, good God, after all the horror movies I had seen in the space between, the 2 times I had seen.
Even if they had done it like the ghosts and say Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Oh my!
Well,
dear God.
If you think about it, who is it? Richard Donner, I believe, did Scrooged.
Yep.
Yes.
And some of that has a creepy element to it.
Sure,
it's
it does.
hilarious.
I'll be honest, even the Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol, as cartoony as it is, with Scrooge McDuck as Scrooge.
Who will now be David Tennant voicing him.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
That is
Isn't
amazing.
it, though?
But even that one, it did have a gothic, dark, almost horror-esque feel to it.
It really did. Yeah.
Which
it grasped the Victorian feel very well.
The Victorian feel very, very, very well. Now, the Alistair Sims version of Christmas Carol is my sister's favorite. Shout out to my sister. Hi, Diane. But she,
a supporter of the podcast.
Yes, she is. She used to watch it all the time, and that's actually, she was the one who introduced me to it, and absolutely love her for that. I love this movie. It is on my list, not quite as high as my number one, which again we've already talked about, much like Eric's. Yeah, there's my segue. Still the captain. Die Hard.
Die Hard.
I love this. What can I say? I love this movie.
You're definitely that person that it's not Christmas till
you see Hans Gruber fall off the roof of Nakatomi Plaza. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We've already talked about Die Hard twice, and I'm sure if your brother were here, we'd be talking about it again.
Most definitely.
So,
but I think it's a good time to cover some honorable mentions, though. Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
See, I can segue.
My honorable mention: one has been mentioned, one has not. It's a Wonderful Life, which I probably could have even put that in my top 5, but like I said, I struggled with this. This was hard. Because there are so many films I love. I mean, I left out Scrooged. I left out Batman Returns. I left out Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I've seen that one. That is a great one. Very creepy.
And my other film that I mentioned that I have listed is Christmas Evil, which is a 1980 film that will change your perception of Santa Claus forever. Because when you think about it, and I'll make this really quick. The basic concept of the film: 2 kids. They see Santa Claus putting gifts under their tree. That's how the film begins. They go to sleep, and the one brother says to the other, Santa Claus isn't real. That was our dad. He doesn't believe, the younger son doesn't believe it, so he goes downstairs to check, and here's Santa making out with his mom. The whole, I saw mommy kissing on Santa Claus under the mistletoe.
Right.
Go ahead 20, 30 years. The guy is now a worker at a toy factory who starts to believe he's Santa Claus.
Oh, creepy.
And he stalks little children, and he has a book that he writes what they do good and what they do bad.
I remember this movie.
Yeah. And then when it really starts to play with your head, though, is when he actually starts to transform himself into Santa Claus. Like taking the rubber cement glue and putting it on his face, attaching a beard, and then trying to pull the beard off his face. And he's making a maniacal laugh while he's doing it. It's creepy. It's messed up.
Yeah.
And how he argues with other adults about Santa Claus being real. And of course, I'm going to spoil this because I really don't know how many people would watch this film. But the very end of the film is the kicker. After he's killed a few people, he's gone completely nuts. He believes he's Santa Claus, and he's driving his van. And he goes to drive the van off the cliff, and the van flies, making him believe he's Santa Claus. It's a messed up movie. It is so low budget. It is so bad.
Yeah,
and for some reason, I watch it every year.
Well, what's near and dear,
And it's also on Shudder, which is how I watched it the other day. I was like, why not? Stream it while I'm doing stuff around the house.
Absolutely. I guess that it's time for my honorable mentions.
Sure, why not?
Let me see. I guess one of mine, and I can't believe I had other films that came before it just because, but Frosty the Snowman is one of my all-time favorites because I don't know, I've always been a fan of Frosty, and
again, it's not Christmas till you hear Jimmy Durante.
There you go. And because I've always thought that Santa Claus and Frosty are like the epitome of Christmas. Like
and they have that iconic moment at the end of the episode or the show.
Yes,
when
that's right.
Frosty has melted and Santa brings him back to life.
That's right. And here's a little bit of Johnson family trivia for you. Now this is a weird one. It doesn't even make sense as a Christmas film. It's not a Christmas movie unless you're a Johnson brother. Predator, with starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. I don't know. I think I might have been around 12 years old or something when this became a thing in my house. Me and my brothers would it would be I think it would be December 23rd or something. It definitely wouldn't be on Christmas Eve, but I'd say about December 23rd. We gather around and we throw on some of the most brutal horror movies we could find. And at that point, Predator was like the top. I don't know why we still gravitate to Predator now.
Don't worry. I'll relate it to Christmas for you. Carl Weathers is in it. Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed. The first Rocky took place during Christmas. There you go. There's your tie-in.
There you go.
I won't go with the Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze link because
we already touched on that.
Yeah, and we're not going there again. But Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed, and Rocky took place during Christmas.
Absolutely.
That's
there you go.
Right.
That is
there
true.
you go.
I'll tie it in for you.
Thank you.
And Rocky is a great film.
Oh,
amazing film.
Amazing.
Granted, it takes place at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, but it's Christmas is in there, man. So counts.
For honorable mentions, of course, I have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation there.
Shitter was full.
Yep, absolutely. Merry Christmas, shitter was full.
Yep.
Yeah, gotta love it. Good old cousin Eddie.
Sure is a little nippy outside.
Play ball!
Yep.
And like I said, absolutely hilarious movie. If you have not watched it, watch it.
Eddie, is the dog okay? Yeah, he's just choking on a bone. He brought it up.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is not technically a Christmas film, though part of it does take place during Christmas, and Santa Claus is in it. I do want to bring an honorable mention to Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, wow.
If you have not seen Rise of the Guardians,
Great movie.
watch it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I kind of went into this thinking, whatever, I'm just going to watch it, it'll be okay. It was a good movie. It's kind of one of those feel-good movies, but it does highlight on that one special little kid. But it's a great movie. I loved it. Basically, it's kind of like almost like a superhero film.
Yep.
But your heroes are Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, Jack Frost, and the Sandman.
I guess
Kind of similar to A Nightmare Before Christmas, where it's mixing the holidays.
But if I
Yes,
actually,
it is.
In that regard.
in that regard,
yeah.
But in my mind, like when I went to see this movie, in my mind, that is like the fairy tale Justice League.
That is exactly what it is. It's a fairy tale Justice League, and the villain in it, they call him Pitch, or Pitch Black.
Yep.
It is the Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman, yes.
Boogeyman that hides under your bed.
Boogie.
Yep.
Sorry, I got Nightmare Before Christmas on the brain all of a sudden.
But
As do I.
no,
I just watched it last night.
It
There
is
you
an
go.
absolutely amazing.
That's an honorable
film.
mention on all
There
three
you
of us.
go, yeah.
Yes, that's an absolutely amazing film. If you have not watched it, please do yourself a favor and watch it. It is a really good movie.
And it stars one of my other winter icons, as I call him, Jack Frost,
Yep.
who I always think should be hand in hand with Frosty the Snowman, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's a character that was not in the movie.
It is, and they even mention a few other fairy tale characters, but again, Frosty wasn't really in there. They mentioned with the leprechaun.
That's right, they did.
Although through Sandman, who does not talk in the film, instead he kind of controls sand. He has sand like constantly flowing around him, and he can turn it into shapes, and that's how he talks. Is he talks through creating images. And when they were talking about a new Guardian coming in, they were all trying to guess who it was. And one of the things he did was he put a 4-leaf clover in his sand, and that's kind of
Because I was actually always hoping that they would do a sequel.
it was only 2012, so there's still plenty of time. I mean,
Jack Frost is an interesting character in that it shows that you can change canon. We've had 3 different types of Jack Frost.
Yes.
You've had the Michael Keaton Jack Frost, which was a father who became
A snowman.
Jack Frost. You've had the horror Jack Frost, which was the killer snowman.
Yes.
And there was the Rankin and Bass animated special Jack Frost.
and to be fair, the Rise of the Guardians is a fourth.
There you go. That's
completely different.
Exactly. And
He's more like a Peter Pan, actually.
Yes, very much.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is, and we see this a lot, especially within the comic book world, is people seem to have a hard time accepting things that are out of canon, so to speak.
Yes.
But things can be changed to create new canon.
Yeah.
And when you guys were mentioning about Jack Frost, and all of a sudden through my head I'm thinking, I know a horror version, I know a family version, I know a children's version, and
this
now
could
Rise
be
of the
almost
Guardians
your
version.
superhero version.
Exactly. There are ways that you can create new canons with characters. Like, for instance, Batman doesn't always have to be the Batman you know.
No.
Justice League Gods and Monsters proved you can have Kirk Langstrom be Batman.
I thought that was a very cool spin.
Exactly.
I went into that movie expecting to hate it. I really did, because a lot of times when they do Elseworlds versions of my favorite characters, they're so oddly different that I cannot relate to them.
And it was Michael C. Hall who was Dexter. Dexter being Batman. How much more ironic can that be? You have two guys who are vigilantes,
right,
doing things, breaking the laws. They're detectives. And how it all tied in. It's like, wow, Dexter Morgan is Batman.
How weird.
Jeez, and here I thought I was sitting across the table from him.
Well, that too. But anyways, no.
Sorry, Eric, we didn't mean to out you like that.
No. I know, right? I was trying to cover up for you, but...
No, there's no covering up, guys.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm Batman.
I'm going to throw one more film in there that just popped in my head. Bad Santa. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That movie is hilarious.
Yeah,
it's raunchy, but it's so funny.
You know, it's funny because there's a lot of movies that take place at Christmas time that we don't necessarily consider Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Another one just popped in my head when you said that, for some reason, I don't know why, is Trading Places.
Trading Places is another one, yes.
Yeah, because you had that scene where Dan Aykroyd was dressed up as Santa, and...
Or as I joked on my Facebook last night, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
What is
it takes place in the snow.
Oh,
and there's a whole lot of family bonding going on in that film.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
boy,
hey, it could be a Christmas film,
bonding.
too. Well, it depends. You got one that cuts off a hand, and you got another one who's kissing his sister. Luke's all into the Christmas spirit, if you think about it.
Very much, very Jamie Lannister.
Yes, definitely.
Winter's coming, guys. Winter's coming.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
definitely.
Woo!
Oh,
that was a very good. Yeah.
Anyways, I think it's about time to wrap this up.
Just so you know, the sales at both Paper Heroes and Rogues Gallery are winding down. So get there while you can, while the getting's good. Haven't heard either store. They're doing a Boxing Day event.
I would assume
unfortunately, we won't be back until after Boxing Day, so you won't hear it from us. But please go check them out. Or if you're near Border City, I'm sure they're doing something. We haven't heard much there. Or
buy some stuff.
Millennium is still around. You can always try them, see if they've got any sales going on. But
got anything on the horizon, Eric?
No, not at the moment, guys.
Oh, just gonna enjoy the holidays, relax, chill with family, stuff like that.
Yep, just gotta take in all the Christmassy sights and enjoy my eggnog, and I do like my eggnog.
For myself personally, we actually just recorded our Christmas episode for the Bats, Bows, and Books podcast. It was myself and my sister, as we call ourselves the Wonder Siblings. Wonder Sibling powers activate. Anyways, I know it's really cheesy, but it works.
If there were twins, it would only be funnier.
Yeah. And we won't be doing a Christmas episode, but we will be doing a New Year's one following Christmas. So we're gonna, and hopefully by then we'll have seen Rogue One, which is probably our Christmas Eve outing for the day. We're probably going to see Rogue One on Christmas Eve. So
I won't be, unfortunately. I do have to work Christmas Eve, and I work nights, so I'll be working until like 7:30 in the morning Christmas Day. That's gonna suck. Not gonna lie, but. You know, we all do what we do, so.
But I do have one mention. I have to give a shout out to. There is an event going on at the Rockhead Pub.
Okay.
This coming Wednesday, I believe it starts at I think around 8:30. It's called Jammin' for a Cause. It'll be hosted by my brother, Mr. Joshua Johnson.
Nice.
And his partner Walter Senko. So if you guys, they're trying to put on a drive to. Either raise funds or provide hats, gloves, and scarves for the less fortunate. So if you guys have anything you want to donate, whether it be used or new, doesn't matter. All that matters is you try and get out there and help provide.
Oh, definitely, that's definitely awesome. It's a good thing you mentioned that.
Yep, I'll actually try and make sure I get something to you guys. But I won't be able to make it there. Fortunately, we have a birthday party that day, so
that's fine.
My niece is turning 19, so it's one of those big ones.
Whoa.
Yeah, boy, I remember she was like a little 2-year-old climbing on me and calling me a Jungle Jeff.
Nice.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Now she's 19 and able to go to bars and drink.
And now your wife calls you the Jungle Jeff, right?
No.
No,
no, she does not call me that. She calls me things, but it ain't that. Nowhere near that nice.
Well,
all right,
ladies and gents.
Thank you very much for tuning in for this episode of the Nightsiders podcast. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Blessed Kwanzaa, Happy Winter Solstice, Yuletide, all the other holidays, because there's 29 of them
in the month of December.
Wow, even I didn't know that.
There's
29
a lot of holidays this month, so whichever holidays you are celebrating, enjoy. If you're not celebrating any holidays, enjoy the extra time off that the government grants you. That's a holiday on its own.
There you go.
So, enjoy and
stay safe out there too. It's very icy and snowy the last couple almost the last week.
Yeah.
And
it's been nuts. It's been crazy.
And enjoy your New Year's Eve, but party responsibly.
Yes.
Please, yes.
Definitely.
Don't drink and drive. Absolutely.
All right. Well, from all of us to all of you.
And we'll see you in a fortnight.
Yep, for sure. Nice that you plugged that for Will. That's awesome. We'll be very happy.